So today I wanted to share an exercise on looking at the structure of understanding and confusion. And um, this can be done as a meditation. Or you can just listen to it as it is. But if you want to go along for the ride as a meditation, um, take a moment and find a comfortable seat and begin to tune into your breathing as we often do. And this won't be a deep uh, journey, but more of a waking state exploration. Um, and in this case, I'm going to be contrasting, we're going to be contrasting our subjective experience of when we understand something or have a sense that we understand something, and when we don't understand something or when we're confused. And this is an NLP process, neuro-linguistic programming. And I first read about this or this type of process from Richard Bandler, who was one of the founders of NLP. And it's a lot of fun. And today I chose confusion and understanding. That was one of the first things that I explored like this. But you can use this to explore the structure of motivation. Certainty and uncertainty can be really fun to look at, or like I did in an earlier talk, you can use this to contrast congruence and incongruence. And in NLP, this is typically called contrastive analysis and or mapping across. Although today we're really going to be just looking at what's there as opposed to trying to change something. Although if something changes, fantastic, and you can have some fun with that as well. So as many of you may know, typically we can think about our experience as some mix of things that we're picturing, our auditory experience, things that we're hearing, or things that we say to ourselves or hear internally, and our feelings, so the three primary senses. And so for this exercise, what you want to do is pick an example or a couple of examples of something that you understand, that when you think about it, you're like, I got this, I really understand this. It's, makes all the sense in the world. And then you can also pick something that you don't understand. Now, it doesn't have to be something that is completely confusing, but it can be. We're going to pick at least one example from each, and then what I'd like you to do is bring them up. So maybe you think about the thing that you understand first, and with that, just notice what you're picturing, notice what's going on auditorily for you, and notice what it feels like in your body when you understand something. So basically, I asked about the three major systems there, and then you can put that to the side and think about the thing that you're confused about, or your experience of confusion, and notice, what are you picturing for that? What, if anything, are you hearing? Or what's your experience of sound or auditory? And what do you feel in your body when something is confusing? So in NLP, we call those the primary modalities. And now we're going to look a little bit more at a smaller scale. And so for this, in NLP, we use the term submodalities, which just means what are the smaller distinctions within each of those three primary modalities or representational systems. So now what you want to do is begin to go back and forth between the thing that you understand and the thing where you're confused. And first, notice the picture of the thing that you understand. and then notice the picture of the thing that you don't understand. And I'm going to ask you a couple questions about how you're picturing those. So I'm less interested in the content, but we're interested in what's the structure of how you represent that to yourself. So first notice one picture and then the other. And are they both still pictures? Or is one a movie, or both movies? Is there a single picture for each, or are there several pictures? Perhaps they may be overlapped or in a cluster. Are they both in color or in black and white? Is there some way that we let ourselves know at an unconscious level that we understand something? There's a way that we represent that to ourselves, and when we're confused. So, for example, some people, their pictures of when they understand something the pictures might be very orderly or linear, and something we're confused about, the picture might be they might be overlapped in a weird way. Not a weird way, just a way that you experience as confusing. Are both pictures or movies in focus, or is one more focused than the other? Are they both the same distance from you, or is one closer and one further away? Are they both at the same height, or is one higher and one lower? And notice where the pictures are. Perhaps your picture of the thing that you find that you understand is in one physical location. I'm making it an example. That maybe you put your understanding objects here and your confusion objects here, kind of pointing to where I put mine. Are they tilted one way or the other, the pictures? So those are some of the visual submodalities. And so far, we're not trying to change anything, just noticing what's the difference when I understand something, or have an experience of understanding something, and when I have an experience of being confused. Now let's go to the auditory channel. And the first thing to notice is, is there something that I'm hearing? Is there something that I say to myself, or am I hearing somebody else say something? Or is there a sound or a melody? And notice the sounds in one, and then notice the sounds in the other. And like the pictures, sound has a location. You might be hearing the sound from a particular direction in one. It's almost as if there's a speaker there, and the sound is coming from there. Does the sound wrap around you? Is one quiet and one's very loud? Is one more tinny? The other one's much more deep. So again, we're looking at the finer distinction, the submodalities in the auditory channel. Very often we might have one tone of voice for ourselves that we say things in when we understand something. It may be a phrase that you use, like "I got this," and then you might have a completely different tone of voice if it's yours or someone else's, if you're confused. And then we can move to the kinesthetic representational system or channel. And first take understanding and notice, what do you feel like in your body when you understand something? What comes to your attention? as you feel that you understand something. Where in your body are you feeling that? How's your breathing when you understand something? And then move to the thing that's confusing and notice what it feels like when something is confusing. Is it on both sides of your body, sensation, or are you experiencing a different sensation on each side of your body? Is your breathing the same? Or is your breathing a little fuller in one than the other? Or a little quicker or slower? Now, one thing that can be fun is to take the thing, let's take the thing that you felt is confusing and begin to shift some of the submodalities to the same submodalities of the thing that we find, that we understand. So if one picture was, let's say your picture in confusion was a still picture, but your picture in understanding was a film, add movement to the thing that you were confused by. So begin to match the submodalities of the thing that confused you to the submodalities of something that you understand. And the one that I would recommend trying first is the location of the pictures. So take whatever you're picturing of the thing that you find confusing and move it into the same location of wherever you're picturing something that you understand. And some people, I know this may sound a little funny, some people like to push their picture way off into the distance and then bring it back up into the location where they understand something. And for many people, they may feel that they begin to have more understanding about that thing that they had been finding confusing. And we can do the same thing in the auditory channel. If there is a particular tone of voice that we're using when we're confused or certain phrases, change that tone of voice to the tone of voice that you use when you understand something, when you really have something. And in the kinesthetic system, the main thing that I would have you look at is your posture the same in both? And begin to move your posture into that of understanding and your breathing. However you breathe when you understand something, I would bring that into the experience of whatever you're trying to be less confused about or understand. Now let all that go for a moment and let's shake that off. Just take a little break. And then let's do the opposite for fun. Let's take the thing that we understand, and they say that the door to understanding is confusion. So let's take something that we understand and see what it's like to put it in the structure of something that we're confused about. And we can always put it back. So I encourage you to just explore. So, and again, we'll start with location. Take the thing that you understand and move it over. Again, you can move it off into the distance and then bring it back up. Bring it into the space of confusion. And you may notice that you start to get a little bit confused about this thing that you understood. And if there is sound there, change it to the submodalities, the tone of voice, the direction of the sounds of the thing that you're, of the space of where you're confused. And you may even shift your posture if there's a difference in the postures and the breathing to that of confusion. And you may ask, well, why would I want to do that? But it's interesting, if you take something you understand and you shift it for at least a moment to confusion, when you move it back, you may find that you actually understand it in a new way, or you may have some new insights into something that you felt like, I just got this. So this is an interesting way of bringing up new ideas, even in terms of something that we feel that we already understand. Um, so that's a little bit about contrastive analysis. And to review a little bit, basically we look at how we picture one experience and how we picture the other, and some of the submodalities of that. Is it at the same distance? Is it in the same location? Are they both in color? Is one a film? Is the other not a film? Are they slanted? Is there movement? And then auditory submodalities, you know, is it loud? Is it very soft? Is it coming from a different direction? Is it rich? Is it staccato? Is it fast? Is it slow? And then our posture, are we very upright? Are we slouching? Are we leaning one way or the other? Are we breathing at a different tempo? So these are some of the elements that we can utilize to compare these two experiences. And one thing that I find interesting is here we're looking at the structure of our subjective experience, how we represent something such that we'll have an experience of understanding or an experience of confusion. And the process that we're using is actually very much a process of mindfulness. And that's why I was saying this can be done as sort of a meditation. And also, like I said, you can do it with certainty and uncertainty. Perhaps there's a time when we're not certain and we'd like to be a little bit more certain. And other times, maybe we're too certain about something, and it's good to introduce a little bit of uncertainty. Because sometimes when we're a little bit more uncertain, we might be open to new information. So I encourage you to really play around with this contrastive analysis and mapping across. I look at this as it's the currency of the mind. It's like, here you have an unlimited source of things that you can change and move around and explore. You can also do this with, how do you picture things when you're highly motivated, when you feel like all systems are go, and how do you feel when you're not as motivated? And so, by doing this contrastive analysis, you can begin to understand your structure of motivation. Really, really powerful. So I hope you enjoyed that, and until next time.